Welcome, golf fans, pursuers of knowledge and the almighty dollar. This is your golf guru bringing you the 2022 Shriners Children's Open. And this is the Before the Lock show where I am going to cover ownership projections, whether my top value plays, anything that you need to know before you lock in those final lineups for DFS or any final bets. And with that said, let's do this. Okay, so as you guys know, I've been promoting PrizePicks. I think it's a great way to get into DFS. A little more simplified way. And if you like money, like I might like money, you need to go check it out. And right now they have a promotion. Use my promo code GolfGuru and get yourself a free $100 or whatever you put in. They're going to match you 100% up to $100. So I highly recommend check it out. What is it? If you don't know, PrizePicks is a projections site where you can bet on any sport. Of course, I'm covering golf, and all you're simply doing is betting against their projections, either over or under. And with that said, I have got my picks for the Thursday first round of the Shriners, and let's talk about them real quick. So I like Victor Hovland's got an early tee time to shoot. He's got to shoot a 67, so that would be 4 under. I've got Louis Oosthuizen. So one of these you got to pick over. You got Patrick Reed I was looking at. He's set at 68. He was one that I was kind of hankering, but he's got an early tee time. And still, Patrick can make some putts. So I went with Louis Oosthuizen. The pure reason why is Louis hasn't played in a while. He's got a little bit of rust. So hopefully that reflects in his round one scoring that, he could shoot a 68 and we're all good. I like Sam Burns, of course, coming off the win. It's been in Fuego. But you could also look at that maybe he's got a little winner's hangover for the first round. But the hope is he didn't go out and party in Vegas the night before because he's got an early tee time. And, well, I take that back. I think Burns has an afternoon tee time. So either way, he can sleep in. But Hideki Matsuyama does have an early tee time. And you've got him set at 68. So we need a 67 out of him. And I think they can do that at this course. It is a scoring fest, as mentioned. To the point where PrizePicks did not even offer at this time birdies as an option. So you either got to go with what they're going to place in a tournament or under, if you want to do round one, which one I'm doing, you got to pick over under on their score. Okay, enough about PrizePicks. Go check it out. Put my promo code in. Worst case, if you've not signed up yet, throw in, 20, 30 bucks, whatever you want. You get a free, and then you could bet it all on this, and we'll see how it shakes out. Again, I believe I'm, let's see here, 50% on the golf side. I won the first two. I think I missed the last two. So right now we're at a 50%. Hopefully we get a little better this weekend. All right, let's get on to this. So if you missed any of the previous shows, of course, I'm using also comparable courses to help out, kind of narrow down the field. We've got a lot of guys below the 7,000 range. I got some interesting plays that I'm interested in, but just so you know, I'll be referencing these courses, these tournaments, that I think they're good comparables to also see how they've done there outside of just how they've done at Summerlin. And so we'll be doing that. All right, with that said, let's go jump over to Fantasy National and let's go do a little bit of analysis and so I can talk to you about my top value plays. Okay, so jumping over to Fantasy National, of course, the pricing that you'll be looking at is Draftkings. Of course, you can use these picks for anything else if you're doing Yahoo, if you're doing FanDuel, whatever it is. And again, what I'm looking at is their last 12 rounds. I've got no filters on. And also, I've got a mini model here that I think represents what I want to look at. We're looking at also birdies gained. So you kind of got this single dashboard to look at each player, a quick snapshot, and then you can dive into the details, which we'll do. But I'm also looking at birdies gained over the last 12 rounds. And then, of course, you can look at tournament history or recent results. And with that said, also, these guys that I'm talking about, of course, are 7,000 and below. And there's quite a few guys here. And what I've done is kind of weeded through and sifted through all these guys. And I'm giving you my best 15 value plays. And then I'm going to give you my top 5. And the first one that I fall on is Lucas Glover. Of course, no shocker if you look at recent history at this course is pretty impeccable. All top 10s or better over his last 3 tournaments here. Of course, he's got these miscuts way back, but really I'm looking more at this. And of course, I am a believer that there is horses for courses. And what do I want at this course? I want guys that have really good irons and can get hot with a putter. Now, that's the one area that of course, Lucas Glover, can struggle. And you can see over his last 3 tournaments with 12 rounds, the putter has been pretty cold. but everything else looks pretty good. Also, recent results, you can kind of look at, made 3 out of the last 5 cuts. Nothing spectacular, but of course he's got that recent win at John Deere, which is a TPC course, TPC Deere Run, which is one of my comp courses, so I also like that. All right, let's go jump on Mr. Smell the Glover and see what's going on here. So funny enough, he's not a good putter, but very streaky. And you can see bent is actually his best worst surface, so doesn't gain on any against the field. But he does do his best work on bent over the life of his career, and it's been a pretty long career. We just go take a quick look over kind of his last, 5-10 rounds. He is still elite with the irons. Kind of on, nothing great on around the green, and it's the putter that typically can hurt. But you can see over his last 2 rounds, tee to green has been real good. It's been the putter that's caused some issues. And then, of course, the last time he gained anything of significance with the putter was at John Deere, and where he lit it up with the irons. And so I would feel great if he could just gain like 3 or 4 strokes with the irons and just break neutral with the putter. I think he could be very live here. I bet him, as mentioned, outright 100 to 1. And like I said, so for that kind of, cost at 7,000, I think he's a great play down here. Again, I don't think he's going to win this tournament, but could he get you a top 20? First off, all right, we got to get these guys to make the cut to get you that 6-6. But the next thing, what we're looking for out of these guys is, can they pop into that top 25? And I think Lucas Glover can do that. If we go plug in some of the comparable courses, just so you can see that, let's go look at the Waste Management. Again, that's my #1 ranked comparable course for this event. Nothing fabulous. The last time, this past February, made the cut, had a 58th. Funny enough, the irons look like he's had some struggles there with the irons, and then kind of on and off of the putter. But I don't know. I give him a C- for that comparable course. Of course, the John Deere I just mentioned, he's had pretty good success there. I called that one. It was, out of that field, before anything was even discussed on my preview show, I said, I think Lucas Glover's the guy to look at. I had a bet, hit that bet, and it was a good weekend. But you can see he's also got some good course history at TPC Deere Run. Let's go look at the Byron Nelson. Only played there once, and that doesn't even count, so it's a miscut, nothing to look at there. I was also looking at the BMW recently this year. Because at Caves Valley they went so low. And so he ended up out of that field. So that was what, 100, I remember 125 at the Northern, down to like what, 70, 75. So, better than middle of the pack against a pretty elite field. You can see he fired on all cylinders, just the putter kind of let him down again. Let's see, what about the 3M Open at TPC Twin Cities? So, it's kind of a mix, right? He's got a miscut, the most recent, and then back in 2019, he's got a 7th. The Northern Trust, both of these, which that kind of stinks. That was Liberty National recently, and then of course TPC Boston. So not a big fan of that. What about WGC St. Jude? So recently, I think that's a good comparable course too, and he had a 57, so he made the cut for us. Funny enough, gained with the putter, and I'm pretty sure, just got to remember, I'll click on this. That was actually at TPC Southland, that's Bermuda. I wasn't sure if it was bent or Bermuda greens. Okay, but I like Lucas Glover at that price tag. You see his ownership, and we're going to go over that, but right now it's around 10%, so I'm not the only one that's got an eye on him. Also, Garrick Higo, the guys that I don't have lit, I'm going to talk about them briefly, but I'm not going to dive into the details. But Garrick Higo out of this field, and it's a stronger field, but I'm just saying more at this price, I think he's still an elite talent. Can get hot with a putter. A lead off the tee, it's just whatever he does with the approach. And it's been a little while. When's the last time we saw Garrick Higo? So he made the Northern Trust, funny enough, with that win at Palmetto. So it's been, he kind of came out, and that was kind of his first real event. The way I look at it was Palmetto, and he won that. Of course, kind of backed into it, right? Jason Hadley kind of blew up on the back nine. But, he's had kind of mixed reviews. Hence, I think you're getting a pretty good value. Of course, he just killed it over on the European Tour. I believe that's, if I'm kind of mixing corn fair, but I believe it was the European Tour that he killed it and got his card to come over here. So anyways, for that price tag, I think he can definitely, bent, he is positive now. It's a really short sample size that we have for Garrick Higo. But from a points perspective, and his projected ownership is pretty low for 6,900. I think he's a good play. He could definitely have some eagle opportunities, some birdie opportunities. So I think he's kind of fallen off the radar, and he's a recent winner, and we know he can win. He's got wins, like as I mentioned, a couple of those wins were on the European. Yeah, right. It was at the Grand Canary Islands courses where I think he had 2 wins. So it's kind of coming back now. But anyways. Um, yeah, I like Garrett Cago. I think he's a solid play for that kind of price tag. I mean, if you look at what he's going against at that kind of price, I think he's still a better talent. Ryder Sloan, he's been showing up lately, so I kind of highlighted him. You can see over his last 3 tournaments, all pretty solid, upper top 50 tiers. He had that T14 he recently at Sanderson Farms, T2 at Wyndham, a T16 at 3M. Had a couple of miscuts, but overall, again, for that price tag, I think it's a pretty solid play. Of course, his past history at this course is not great. You see birdies, been pretty good over the last month or so. So I think Roger Sloan's a pretty good play at that price tag. The next guy that I'm actually falling on is Peter Molinari. Of course, he has a pretty solid tournament history at Shriners at TPC. Why am I blanking? All right, the next guy that I fall on is Pierre Molinati, and he gets hot around this time, and he's got a good irons and he's a good putter, and that's the kind of the two things. So down this price tag, I'm still looking for approach and putting if possible. I know Glover's got the approach, his putting, but I know he can get super hot. Peter Molinati also has a pretty good course, history here. He had a T5 here last year, a T15, a T32. He had a couple of miscuts within that. And then recent form, he's made the last 3 cuts. He had that T22 at the Fortinet. Spiked, I think, believe one day at Sanderson Farms. But you also see the birdies. So again, at this price tag, and I just know what he typically does in the fall. He just gets kind of hot. You see Bent is positive, Poe is his best. And let's just go look. We can, take a peek at some of the comparables. So not so good at TPC Scottsdale. 3 miscuts there. The John Deere, he's made 4 out of 6, and his best showing was a 27th quite a while ago. What about the Byron Nelson? He didn't play recently at TPC Craig Ranch, but when he did, and those are typically kind of similar, easier courses, again, nothing spectacular. What about, I don't need to look. He did not make the BMW 3M. A couple miscuts recently, but he has had a 46 there. What about the Northern? So he didn't do bad at the Northern Trust recently at the FedEx playoffs. We'll call that above the field, above that average. So kind of hang your hat on that, I guess, a little bit. And what about, did he play at WGC? No, wasn't it? So again, I'm going with what I know that Peter Molinati, again, good with the irons, last 12 rounds. He is a good putter. He typically, for whatever reason, gets a little warm around this time. So again, lower ownership, 6,500. I think he's a solid play. Good course history, good recent form at this price tag. Again, someone that I think can get you through the weekend. I wouldn't say a top 25, but let's shoot for a 50 or better. That's where I'll get him. Russell Knox, also, I think he's a good play. You can see my model rank. He comes in 9th. Been pretty hot with the putter and on approach. I'm not a real fan of the birdies, but if you look at his last 5 tournaments he's played, he's made 3 out of the 5, and he's got a couple T29 to T24. And also not a terrible course history here. I mean, yes, he missed a cut recently, but he made the cut 4 other times, and way back in 2015 he had a third. He also shows up that he's been firing real well at the 125, 150. And that's, I mentioned 20% of the approach shots over history have come in from there. So I like Russell Knox. It's kind of a rarity for me. I'm not a big Russ Knox guy, but when I see kind of a trend, see something, especially for the price tag, I think we got to jump on, and he could be a good play. And you can see, approach has been real nice over his last, 7 events. Off the tee has been good. He's been good with the putter the last 4 rounds, had a little miss streak. So again, Russell Knox can get hot, and right now I think we got to ride that train. Also, we look at his, TPC Scottsdale at the Waste Management. pretty solid there. And I think, again, I think that's the best comparable course we have. Um, and he's, 4 out of 6. He's got a 15th, a 10th, a 16th. So that's solid. What about the John Deere? That's not solid, but that's a long time ago. Even if those were good, I wouldn't even really allow those to be in my equation. The Byron Nelson. So at TPC Craig Ranch, had a 39th, a 43rd, and a 16th. So that's not too shabby. Let's see what else we got here. I highly doubt he has played in the BMW. He did a long time ago. What about the 3M? Miscut recently. So a couple of miscuts back to back. Guess he's putting it in the water there. Who knows? Northern Trust recently. Nothing to write home about there. Miscut. And last but not least, I highly doubt he played at the WGC. Nope, not the one I'm looking at. So again, we're going on a recent form of Russell Knox. For that price, I think it's a pretty good play. I put Nate Lashley in here. I've always got an eye for Nate Lashley. Just again, I mentioned to one of the subscribers that I got to see him when he won at the Rocket Mortgage, the inaugural year. And the guy from an approach side, I've never seen better irons. Now, again, I was there live, so maybe that was a bit of it. You can see approach, recently is not, blowing off the charts, but I know what that guy can do with some irons. You can also see out of this field over the last, he's been hot with the putter, and that's showing up here, right? So I've always said when you see someone hitting consistently in the teens, there's a good chance they could win a tournament. You also see he's making birdies. Not on anyone's real radar. He's always I've always keep an eye when he's in the tournament. I kind of look at him a little bit as a Doc Redman, funny enough, but a better putter, maybe not as good off the tee. So let's go click on Nate. Just take a quick look. Even though he's not one of my top value plays, let's just allow you guys to see a little more information. So Bent is not his best surface. POA is where he has done some damage, but a note to self, when he won at the Detroit Golf Club, that is bent green, so he can get pretty hot. And if we look, he went en fuego with the putter at the Sanderson Farms, and then did it more with the ball striking at the Fortinet. The Wyndham, nothing really great and broke neutral. But you can see the irons and the putter, around the green and the irons have been pretty solid. Trying to see. Funny enough, at the Rocket Mortgage where he won, you can see the putter did not work. But the irons were working, so he must like that course for irons. Let's just go look at some of the comparables for him while I'm here. So the waste management, which I think is a great comparable, he's done really well at those. So I give that an A+, also for why you'd want to play him. John Deere, that's a little while ago, but he had a 26. What about the Byron Nelson miscut at TPC Craig Ranch? But before that, a 29th and a 32nd. He did not play in the BMW. What about the 3M? Miscut recently. And I don't know if he made it to, he made it to the FedEx Cup playoffs last year, but no good there. And then I don't think he played. He did play the WGC St. Jude, but that's not the one I was. Well, it is still TPC Southland, but it's a while ago. But you can still say he had a 20th, and it's a good comparable course. So I wasn't going to go in all that detail, but I wanted you to see a little more on Nate Lashley. I think he's a solid play down here. You can see, again, good recent and, not terrible course history. So James Hahn, why I'm on or even mentioning James Hahn is, again, a lot what he did at the Waste Management. I mean, he kind of fell apart at the end, but had a chance to win that tournament. Of course, Brooks ended up winning it. But, if you look at his course history here, every time he's played, he's made a cut, and he's got that T5 last year. And he's also got that finish at the Waste Management. So I'm just letting you know, again, I think he's a solid play to sprinkle in. And you see, nothing fabulous. Let's go see. I just want to see what his splits are. Yeah, so that's a putter is what you typically kills him. You see last 3 rounds, that's what's been hurting him. Last real good show was at the Barbasol. That's another one you could, kind of hang your head on. He had a T5 or a 5th place there. Let's click on this. See where some of his wins. Good showing there. So he won again. Tough courses, funny enough. And he's a pretty solid ball striker. Just trying to see. So there's the Shriners. Did everything well. Just the putter let him down, or he could have won that. And I also put a bet on him, funny enough. So here's that Waste Management. So he ended up 10th place. But if you remember, like I said, he was right there in contention, and the driver kind of let him down. I think I don't know, on the back, he freaking threw one in the water, and that was kind of the end of it. And then, of course, he's got that 11th at the Waste Management again. So he's showing up there, and I think he can show up here. So James Hahn, I like. Hank Loboda, I'm not done with Hank yet. I think a lot of people also jumped off the Hank Loboda. Now you see ownership's a little bit up there, and that's probably a lot from what the model's saying. And also knowing that we don't have to worry so much about off the tee here. Now you can get in trouble, as I mentioned. There's those wastelands, but nothing that should just kill him. And they're large, generous fairways, and he's doing everything else still really well. Approaches off some putting, still making birdies. Now this is what I would think would get people off him. I mean, you got to cut, withdraw. He's never played here before. Let's go click on Hammer and Hank, see what's going on. So funny enough positive putting surface is bent, so that's a good sign. We look at just from a summary, his approach and putting is good around the green. Recently, it's not been too fabulous. And you can see that what's kind of hurt him is the putter over the last couple events. You can see he got super hot. The John Deere, the Rocket, that's bent greens. Travelers, his irons and putter were firing, and a driver's never been his favorite. I mean, I think if he just goes neutral at this course, he could be good and gain a few strokes with the irons and gain a few strokes with the putter. He could be very alive. So I'm on Hank as a play down here. Another one to look at, Jimmy Walker, just, kind of a guy that's going to be on the radar. I mean, you can see, right now less than 1%, but approach and putting. And he, I played him actually in one of my showdowns, and I think he shot like 3 or 4 under, I think, on the final day. I know one day he popped. I think he had like a 4 or 5 under. Maybe he shot like 1 under on the last day, but neither here or there. Played her before. He's had a T4 a while back. That's a real while back, but kind of some miscuts. So I think that's got people off him. But his last 5 tournaments, he's made the cut. Had a T11 at the 3M, which I think is it's another TPC comparable course. Actually tougher. It's a tougher track, I think. And had a miscut at the Open, which do what you may with that. But yeah, everything here is clicking pretty well. So Jimmy Walker could be a sneaky play at 6,300. Sam Ryder, I talked about last week. It's been playing some good golf. Again, made 4 out of the last 5 cuts. He's also had a third here, a T18 in 2020. So pretty good, making birdies. 6,300. I think that's pretty solid. Seb Straka, I haven't given up on him, but it's, it's hard, but he's doing the one thing still well is the irons. The putter comes and goes, and this approach from here is 4. So he's doing some things still very elite. He's got to get the driver back when that's on, which is typically is. The putter, like I said, is. But I think Seb Straka, I'm still gonna plug him in here or there, sprinkle him. Adam Svensson, he just came up, of course, Corn Ferry guy. I told you guys about that he can get super hot. He can string together 4, 5, 6 birdies. I still like him. He didn't, he missed the cut at the Sanderson, made the cut at the Fortinet. Of course, he's, actually he has, I guess, played here. Yeah, because he did have his card for a brief stint back in 2019. So he had a miscut. But again, I'm going to look to him. Someone that you might want to think about. Mark Hubbard, I don't know why, I'm kind of high on. It's probably multiple things, right? So he's crushing it with the irons. He's always had a good putter. He's doing everything else pretty good that I want now off the tee. But again, this is the one tournament I'm not super concerned about what's going on with off the tee. He had that T16 at the Fortinet, but a couple of miscuts before that. He's played her before, and he's had a mixed bag. He's got some miscuts, nothing great, but I don't know why. I just kind of feel like Mark Hubbard could do something this week. And when I say that again, I don't think he's going to win, even though I think I did put a crazy bet on him at like 300 to 1 or something like that. But you can see Ben's best putting surface. You could see for the last, 20 tournaments, everything that I want. And, when he's losing off the tee, it's not crazy. It just means he might be getting a little wayward. And you can see pretty solid, recent results. Let's go see. I don't know what he might have from comparable sides. So Waste Management, that's a good showing. It's made the cut every time at TPC Scottsdale. A 30th recently, a 9th before that. So that's a good show. The John Deere recently made the cut. He had a 41st, a couple of miscuts before that, but I'm, always more concerned about what is recent. The Byron Nelson at TPC Craig Ranch, he also made a cut. So maybe this was it. Maybe I did go through this before and really liked what I was seeing. I don't think he did not make the BMW this year, but that was the previous. What about the 3M? So again, a 16th at the 3M. Now I know why I bet this guy. And the Northern Trust, he had a 29th. That would have been TPC Boston. And the WGC St. Jude did not play. So again, from a betting perspective, again, he's like 200 to 1, I believe, or something like that. Why not, right? I mean, it could happen here. You got a stronger field than usual, but, Marty Laird won it last year. So if he gets hot with the irons and a putter, and he can, there you go. Then my last two guys I'm just going to mention briefly. Sun Kang's been playing good golf, made the last 4 cuts, T15. He's also a winner, right, on the tour. I believe that was the Byron Nelson that he won. Let's go verify real quick because now I'm curious. Yeah, so the Byron Nelson back in 2008. It was funny, after he won that, everybody thought he was going to go on a tear because he is a pretty elite ball striker. And you can see, of course, the putter had to really kick in for him to do well at these events. But he's been showing up. He actually had a really good, I don't know, it was the first day at the Sanderson Farms. Let me go click. Let's just go see real quick while we're here. So the Waste Management, TPC Scottsdale, a mixed bag, right? He had a 12th as his best, but he had a miscut recently. So they kind of give that kind of a push. What about the John Deere? Again, recently not good, but a 14th before that. Let's go look at the 3M 70. So we made the cut, but that's about that. So yeah, that's, again, for that price tag, very low ownership could be someone like. And then Adam Long, again, some of that I've watched enough to know that when it goes, it goes. And right now, over his last 3 tournaments, he's, shooting, it's working enough. Again, not for a win, but to get you through to the weekend. He's making some birdies. And let's go look at him real quick. A pretty good putter, positive on bent. You can kind of see that over his career. The irons have been kind of on and off. And it's more of the driver's been a little wayward. But the last time that fired well was at the 3M Open, which you better, because or you're going to be in a lot of water. Let's go see where just click on this here, his best finishes. So he won the Amex back in 2019. This is always what I think. I always think when whatever it is, when he goes to Mayakoba or OHL, he almost wins that tournament. He also had an 8th in 2020 at the Waste Management. Got around. So I mean, you can look at some of his finishes. Have been on some tough courses. The guy is a pretty decent player. He had that showing at the Players this year. He showed up at the John Deere. But it is either he shows up or it's a miscut. And when he shows up, it's top 15 or better. So, again, someone I think that is not typically on people's radars, but Adam Long, I like, and I'm going to talk about, I think I even put a bet on him, so we'll talk about that. Okay, so that's my top value plays. Also, we'll summarize it before we get out of here, but, or that's my value plays that I think, are good to get you, through the weekend and hopefully even something better. All right, let's go look at ownership projection while we're here. Everybody's always excited to see this. And again, if you don't understand where these numbers are coming from, I'll explain real fast. Everybody that uses Fantasy National, of course, they pick favorite players or generating lineups, and that's what's kind of telling you here. We're not getting as much numbers as we used to because, of course, I think with football starting up, golf is kind of falling a little to the wayside, but I think they're still pretty accurate. And funny enough, one of my top guy that I'm on is Abraham Ancer, and there's reasons. Everybody else seeing that out there, what he's done here. Fits, of course, that win at WGC. Next guy, funny enough, that's a little shocking, Mito Pierre, just because, I think people are just looking at finishes. And I said he was also one of my picks. And then Webb Simpson. Let's talk about Webb real quick because I have one of the subscribers just kind of mentioned that I'm like the only guy that, from an analyst perspective, is on Harris English and out on Webb, or did not mention Webb Simpson. And he was thinking, I should put Webb in instead. And let's just talk about that real quick. So first off, Webb Simpson's $1,000 more on Harris English. I'll just give you a quick summary. Webb Simpson, I think, had 6 top 10s this year, and that's it. No wins, no first, no second. And I'm a huge Webb Simpson fan, so let's state that off the bat. But if we go on pure talent, there's a reason why Steve Stricker picked Harris English over Webb Simpson. And we can go look at, I've got Webb pulled up here. just to go take a quick little show. Now, you could look at, there's been some brief, but hey, the guy missed the cut. He was the highest, most expensive guy, if I remember correct, at the Rocket Mortgage. He missed the cut at the Rocket Mortgage, which that's not good. He's just not been playing like Webb. And that's the short of it. And so for a $10,000 dollar price tag, I believe that's what he's at, I can't play Webb. There's just nothing that's telling me. Now he could come out. He's had some spike rounds where he's went out, but he'll go out and shoot a 5-6 under, and then he'll come out and shoot even or over. So just and you could kind of see the driver. What used to be with Webb, he was never long, but he was accurate. And I've seen this, missing the fairways, hitting 3-woods, so that's a problem. His, long irons or, approaches, he's been on or off, right? So if you look at his last 5 events, with approach, he's, lost to the field on 2 of them, and then, had this crazy one at the Wyndham, but it's the Wyndham. The guy named his daughter. He has a house there. The guy won that tournament on how many times? So I take the Wyndham and just chuck that out there. But he actually lost on putting it around the green, which is typically where Webb strikes. So if you look at Harris, his best putting surface has been, and people might not think, but Harris is one of the better putters out there. Harris had 2 wins last year, a 3rd place. I mean, the guy from a performance standpoint just blew away Webb Simpson. And you can see, I think people are, going back to after he won the Tournament of Champions, and he actually was hurt for this little stint. He was hurt. He didn't come out and say it, but he was hurt. And then since then, I mean, the guy, Palmetto, 14th, a 3rd at the U.S. Open. He won Travelers, 46th there, a 4th at WGC. Even in the FedEx Cup playoffs, not bad considering who he's playing against. I'm not saying it's great, but not bad. And so, I can see where you could be like, well, his last outing, his approach. But even at the Ryder Cup, I don't think he was like spectacular, but I don't think he was bad. I mean, the guy still performed. So for $1,000 difference, I don't understand why people are so high. Now, the only other thing that I could say is why people are touting Webb over would be, I believe it's course history. So you can see Webb has played the Shriners a crap load. And, whatever. Last year, I don't know, it was last year. So, yeah, a 13th, a 7th, he's also at a 56. But he's also won there back in 2013. And then if we pipe in Mr. Harris English and we look at course history, let's type in Shriners, not as good. He had a miscut back last year at 36, but he had a 4th and a mid. So, that if you're given an edge, so if you're going on talent and recent form, I don't think there's a conversation to say Harris English is a better player than Webb Simpson right now. Almost was player of the year. So, had an opportunity for that. Webb Simpson, though, if you're going on just pure course history, yeah, go on pure course history and pay the extra $1,000 and go with Webb. And again, like I said, I'm a fan of both, but I just wanted to bring that up. Sorry, it was kind of a little off. But someone, asked me that, so you're getting a response on why I would prefer. I'm going to play Harris English over Webb Simpson. Okay, moving along. So you can see Victor Hovland. Here's the more chalky guys. All solid plays. I don't see anything. But on that note, where is Harris English? Harris English is less than 10% owned right now. So if you are trying to get some differentiation on the field, there you go. Trying to see if there's anything. I'm just kind of scrolling through here. If there's anything that kind of stands out as a. Oh yeah, by the way, Kevin Na withdrew, which you're going to see that in DraftKings, and so did Brendan Todd. So that's actually, I picked Kevin Na. How could you not at this course? Because I knew if I didn't, he'd kill me. But it's actually probably a good thing, I think, that get him out of your lineups if you had him. Nate Lashley, 4%. So some people are kind of looking at Nate. I'm looking. The guys that are highlighted were my some of the guys I picked from a value play standpoint. See anybody who's completely not on that. Tyler McCumber, funny enough, I actually am betting him. I think he's like 500 to 1. Or, like, again, I'm just on a hopes and a prayers that he could do something. But he can, he's had his little spurts here recently. It's kind of funny. Robert Streb, for some reason, Robert Streb will show up at a course like this. Straka, it's totally fallen out of love. Not even, point 0.1. So that's interesting. It might be me that I clicked on him. Sung Kang, point 0.2. Lahiri, I'm not on. I mean, he could. He's got decent irons, but it is not one of mine. There's my Adam Long, point 0.4. All right, so let's go back up. So you can just one more time kind of talk about the highest owned. So if you want to make any changes, so of course, red is the top three guys, and I think I said definitely I'm fading Webb Simpson. I'll tell you right now. So that's going to be my move, and I'll place him with Harris English, and we'll see how it works out. I could be totally wrong. I'm trying to see things interesting. Matthew Wolf, that's a, that's an interesting he's almost 14% projected ownership because he can spread all over. But again, you can get away with it a little more here. Trying to see if anything that stands out. Sam Burns, less than 10% owned. I think that's a bit of the price tag and, the narrative of, hey, if you win, in the next weekend, it's a little difficult to go out and do the same. So could be an interesting. I mean, there's no reason why Sam Burns can't go out and top 10 this thing. Yeah, Lucas Glover, a lot of people are excited about, and it's course history. A lot of people just take the easy way out. They just wait. I'm just go off course history, and that's what I'm picking. Petty Perez, Mark Hubbard. Like I said, I already mentioned I'm kind of interested in him. Let's go find where's Kisner. You plug that in. Yeah, there you go. So there is a different value play for you. And again, I picked him. He's less than 1% calculated ownership, and he just won not that long ago. But I know, he's not in best, but yeah, I think he could do something here. So I think that's a good pivot too. All right, that's enough on that. Let's go talk wind and weather real quick. So again, always use Wind Finder, especially if you're doing showdown. You're going to want to pull up this practice park is the closest to the course. You can also just pull the airport up, McCarran. It doesn't matter. They're all pretty similar. But supposedly showing they are going to get some wind in the afternoon Thursday. We'll see how that, but so that's why also even from the PrizePicks, I'm picking kind of guys earlier, but we'll see how that all works. And it's not crazy wind. But enough that I think the guys have advantage in the morning. And then the wind is going to blow more. I noticed on Friday. So funny enough, it's saying in the morning it's going to be there, and then in the afternoon, that's kind of interesting. Then again, in the afternoon, it's going to pick up on Saturday, and then Sunday, looks perfect. But look what Monday. So keep an eye on this. Now, if weather, of course, is always changing, and we're a bit away from these days, but they're predicting Monday some crazy winds. So that, just keep an eye on Sunday, what's going on. And that's it. That's it from a weather perspective. But, all this is hey, leverage Wind Finder, especially if you're doing showdown. I don't see really any crazy advantages. If you're picking guys down that are cheap, you might want to find the guys that got the early morning tee times on Thursday. I do that once in a while. Just gives, for whatever reason, you got fresh greens. Typically the wind's down. They can come out and shoot a good Thursday round, and have the later Friday round. It, might give them that chance to make the cut, but we'll see how that all plays out. All right, let's go wrap this up. Okay, so to summarize, my top value plays for the Shriners is Mr. Glover, which, looks like a lot of other people on him. Great iron players, good course history here. It's just going to all be about the putter with him. Russell Knox been, playing solid golf, good recent results. Just keep doing it. Hey, Russell, just get us a top 30. That'd be great. Hank Laboda, right? He was just kept nipping and nipping on possibly breaking through and getting a win on the PGA Tour, and then he pulled out of a tournament. I still don't remember. I don't think it was physical. I think it was something family related. And since then, it's just not been good. But I'm still not off hammering Hank yet. So I'm going to keep riding him. Peter Molinari, just around this time, he can heat up. Good putter. Pretty good with the irons. It's off the tee. He just needs to be straight because he's not long. But again, I think you're going to get more distance here. You got wider fairways. You got the elevation, the heat. So, that should kind of help him even more. And then last but not least, for whatever reason, kind of my gut play. I mean, there's some analysis to it, but I like Mark Hubbard. He's been, irons. He's could be a hot putter. So yeah, even for like a first round leader, so I'm going to check out, or even an ultimate outright. It's crazy as, like I said, it's like 300. It's a long shot. And with that said, I'll give you some of my last minute bets. So as always, auto bet is Sebastian Munoz, first round leader. And because he's been not doing so well the last couple first rounds, he's up to 90 to 1, which typically, he'll fall somewhere between 75 to 50. So I like those odds. So I'm putting another bet on him to be a first round leader. I also believe he does have an early tee time. So I kind of like those when I'm doing first round leaders. Tringali, again, he's actually been firing real well in first rounds. Not so good on Sundays. He just, whatever is Sundays, he falls apart. But he's good for a first round leader. And also, I think he is an early morning tee time, if I remember correctly, for the first round. And last but not least, I kind of mentioned Adam Long, 300 to 1. This is a course that he could show up for sure. And the good thing about Adam Long, it's either he's a miscut or he could be a top 10. So you could even play him. I don't know what his odds are top 10, but it's, it might be another good way to play him. If you don't want to, like I said, but you put $10 on him, that's $3,000. If you hit that. So, anyways, that's my thoughts on some last minute bets. And with that said, that is my show. That is the week for the Shriners Open. Hey, thanks for spending some time with me, guys. Thanks for your support. And if you like what I'm doing, I always appreciate the click of the like button. Share with anybody else trying to still grow the community. And with that said, I am just creeping, man. I'm off by 65 subscribers. So again, it would mean the world to me. If you click that subscribe button, if you're checking me out and you like what I do, again, I produce three different shows, all focused on the PGA. I also do a little bit on the NFL side, just purely from a PrizePicks side. And also, if I can help you with anything, hit me up on YouTube comments. And as always, keep an eye on me on Twitter. I do always announce withdrawals, and keep an eye in the morning before these guys tee off to make sure we don't get hosed with a withdrawal last minute. If I can get it from the PGA Tour Communications, I get it over to you guys. All right, with that said, that's it. Hey, have a happy, lucky weekend. Enjoy the golf, even though we're not going to get a ton of coverage. I think you got PJ Live Thursday, Friday, and then you're getting like 3 hours of coverage. Probably going to be later because it is in Vegas on the Golf Channel. All right, guys, all the best. Talk to you later.